When we don't have trust in ourselves, we don't believe in our own sovereignty, we don't speak up for ourselves. We don't feel empowered to fight our own battles, to say no, to ask for what we want. We actually find it easier to hand over responsibility for our own lives to other people. Hello beautiful souls, I'm Sasha. Welcome back to my channel, here to support you in living your most abundant life. In this video, I'm going to give you a few core principles to support you in learning how to rebuild trust with yourself. These are really practical things you can get started with right now because I really want you to have the tools to actually make real change in your life. Losing trust in ourselves really amounts to losing trust in our own internal signaling, i.e. our intuition. It means that when we receive information from the outside world, we cannot trust the process that converts what's going on out there into meaning that we can understand. It can look like anxiety or dissociation in response to our own body signals, i.e. our physical sensations or our emotion. It can also mean not trusting the thoughts that pop into our head and therefore not voicing our truth or what we really think. The main reason we experience a lack of trust and disconnection is a response to trauma. And so much of our trauma healing journey is about coming home to that feeling of self-reliance and trusting in our own inner knowingness. So let's dive right into principle 1. In order to learn how to trust your own knowingness, you need to go back and understand why you lost it in the first place. When and why did you stop trusting the signals that your body was giving you? There are so many reasons for this, and some are more subtle than others. I already mentioned the experiences of abuse or trauma, but more subtle things like going through puberty can trigger some mistrust in the body. I speak about this because I experienced my own childhood trauma, which completely upended my understanding of what was right, what was wrong, what was good, what was bad. It launched an avalanche of feelings that I just did not have the capacity to understand as a child, nor was I able to talk about it or process it. It was so overwhelming that I just shut down my connection with my body. So I completely lost trust in myself and in the signals that my body was giving me. It was just too confusing. It was only by going back to the root and understanding what had happened in the first place that really allowed me to go on this journey of rebuilding trust. You have to go back to the root. Going back to the root is a whole journey in itself. I'm not going to cover all of that in this video. There are so many ways you can begin to explore this. Different practices for reconnecting with the body and soul may include things like sound healing, traditional talk therapy, somatic work, acupuncture, breath work, journaling, intuitive dance. But just be aware, if you are brand new to this work and you have trauma stored in your body, then really go carefully and make sure you choose experienced therapists and practitioners to work with. The key here is that if you want to rebuild trust with yourself and your intuition, then you need to go back to the root of why you lost it in the first place, or why it might never have been there. You need to go back in and repair the initial wound. This can be a really challenging thing to do, to acknowledge our past and to acknowledge our pain, but it really is so important. If we don't acknowledge what has happened to us, we truly can't accept it and move forward, and we won't be able to rebuild that trust with ourselves. You might find you need a lot of support, but you can absolutely do this. Just find the right people to help you on this journey. So principle number 2, set yourself up to succeed. You want to rebuild this trust in yourself, right? This is a good thing. This is a positive step that you're making. So set yourself up to live with integrity. Make it easy for yourself. Learning to trust yourself again means building self-reliance and becoming a person that you can rely on, where your words and your actions align, where what you say you're going to do, you actually go ahead and do. Become the person today that your future self can rely on. This is really simple things like meeting deadlines, fulfilling your commitment, being on time to places, about all those little things that support you in being truly responsible for your life. This can be particularly hard if you struggle with self-sabotage or have learned helplessness or learned powerlessness in your background. So make sure you go back to principle 1 and really go back through those core wounds, heal them and work with them, acknowledge them, accept them, to allow you to have that ground zero level to rebuild these good habits on. But what you can do right now, start setting yourself small, achievable tasks. So we're not talking about goals here. We're talking about things that are well within your capability, that are well within your capacity, that you can do consistently anyway, and make it intentional. This is not about pushing yourself. This is about creating success momentum. This is about rebuilding your identity as a person who is trustworthy and fulfills their commitment to themselves and to other people. So an example might be, every Saturday I'm going to clean my house. That involves scheduling it in your calendar, making sure you have cleaning supplies, a reminder in your phone. This is about making sure you have everything prepared to support you in being able to do that thing. Then this is where the magic happens. Every time you say to yourself, okay, on this day I'm going to do this thing, and then you make it happen and you actually complete the task, you complete the action, afterwards you feel this sense of pride and self-esteem. That's how you build the trust in yourself. You're like, oh, I've become a person who does what I say I'm going to do. This creates an internal congruence where you start to believe that you are a trustworthy person. Principle number 3, start speaking your truth and start communicating with presence. When we don't have trust in ourselves, we don't believe in our own sovereignty, and therefore we don't speak up for ourselves. We don't feel empowered to fight our own battles, to say no, to ask for what we want. We actually find it easier to hand over responsibility for our own lives to other people because we don't believe we'll do a good enough job for ourselves, or we're too afraid that if we do speak up, if we do stand up for ourselves, then something bad will happen. Rebuilding trust in ourselves means overcoming the fear of speaking our truth out loud, especially in situations where we feel vulnerable or with people that are closest to us. As with everything, start small. Literally the smallest step you can take. I remember doing this myself. Even saying what restaurant I wanted to go to for dinner in the evening felt like this wave of anxiety that I couldn't possibly make a decision like that would have an impact on someone else. What if I was wrong? What if they didn't like it? It would cause me so much anxiety. But these are the little things you've got to start doing. Start saying, no, I deserve to say what I want. What is really important here is the expression of your truth and using your own voice to speak what is going on inside of you. So you create this connection within yourself that says, when something's happening within me, when I have a feeling, when I have a thought, then I'm going to use my voice to say it out loud. And you begin to trust that you have a voice. You're building that trust within yourself, that connection between your heart and your throat chakra. You are literally rebuilding the potency of that connection. And we're going to dive much deeper into that in an upcoming video around finding your voice and speaking your truth. But for now, just know that this is part of rebuilding trust in yourself, is knowing that you have a voice and that you are allowed to use it, and that starting small is always the way to go. With all these 3 principles, you can start today right now. If you acknowledge that you need to start small and stay committed, know that if you've lived the majority of your life up to now not trusting yourself, then it's going to take time. It's going to take these small steps every day. Every time you overcome the fear of saying no to something, or you do a task that you scheduled for yourself, or you fulfill a commitment that you made, you're going to be rebuilding that trust. The more you do these things, the more you stay with it, you're going to build your capacity to do bigger tasks and to take on bigger responsibilities. You're going to feel more empowered to do more in your life, and you will slowly start to see your life grow and expand in ways that you actually feel aligned to cope with. You won't want to shut yourself away, and you won't want to quit. You'll want to keep moving forward. You want to keep expanding. You want to keep growing. So let me know in the comments, where are you at with trusting yourself? What do you struggle with the most? Or let me know if you have questions about healing trust after trauma. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, please subscribe. New videos every single Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. Loving you infinitely.